Rise and shine on Australia's Vision Christian Radio.
It's great to be spending Saturday morning with you. We're excited to bring you the best bits of Rise and Shine. It's Fel and Andy.
Yeah, Fel, it's been a huge week on Rise and Shine. It's going to be really hard to squeeze such a big week into one 2-hour show.
Couldn't possibly happen, actually. So we're just going to give you the highlights. This is like the highlight reel. What are our favourite parts from the show during the week? Andy, kick us off. What can we expect this hour?
Well, we started with, Brad Patterson, the Shearing Pastor, and I just love that guy so much.
He has an incredible devotion, actually, not demoted, promoted about the mob of sheep that he and his wife purchased. You don't want to miss that coming up next. And then, Andy, you were off on a mission. Mission, did you accept it? Yes, you did. As a bit of a maverick.
I did accept the mission, Fel. I was helping Mission Aviation Fellowship celebrate the donation of a brand new plane which will fly in PNG. So I went to the aerodrome, Fel, hoping to buzz the tower. But I definitely did my part because I went in the outfit or...
you looked the part.
I looked just like Mav. I had the aviators on, the jacket.
From Top Gun, the movie. But did you drive the plane?
I didn't drive the plane and I didn't turn up in a motorbike. So it wasn't the full Top Gun fantasy, but it was pretty close.
So we have some incredible stories of the work of Mission Aviation Fellowship for you. We'll hear from Joe. We'll hear from our winner of jumping on a plane with Andy, Pam, who did arrive back safely. And also Tim, the pilot. What a story about going from Oxford to the bush to do work with Mission Aviation Fellowship.
Yeah, a graduate of Oxford University, a corporate lawyer in London, and he turns his back on that whole world and becomes a pilot in remote parts of Australia, serving God and serving the people of remote Australia and East Timor.
The right way to spend your Saturday. This is the Rise and Shine Weekend Edition on Vision.
One of my favourite people in the whole world, the Shearing Pastor, is back with us today on Rise and Shine. His name is Brad Patterson. He's the Shearing Pastor and he gives out shearing clips and spiritual tips on his social media. Brad, welcome again to Rise and Shine.
Hey, Andrew. Hey, Fel. Great to be back.
Oh, so exciting. Look, we loved it last time. For those who can think back a couple of weeks, we heard about Lucas the lamb and how he was saved by his owners and treated like luxury, a luxurious life. I'm wondering this morning, being the Shearing Pastor, if you have any more analogies or stories that involve some sheep for us this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Always up for a story about sheep. I remember we actually a few years ago took a bit of a step of faith, my wife and I, Sky and I. We bought 50 sheep, a little mob of 50, and we ran them in the Perth Hills. The idea of, getting the wool and getting a lamb each year. And we called it our school fee shearing mob, be able to pay for the kids' school fees. But anyway, and so we brought them, and we'll never forget we'd invested. It was about $150. It was $140 a head back then, quite a while ago. That's what we paid. And I'll never forget the day when we got the phone call from the guy that lives on the farm that says, your sheep are not here anymore. They've gone.
All of them?
Just all of them. All of them are not in the paddock. Oh, no. And I just remember thinking, you can add up 140 times 50. It's about $7,000. And I thought, oh my goodness, we thought we've lost this investment. And straight away, I don't know if you ever lost something.
Yes.
Oh no. Well, often that brings out the worst in us too when we lose things, don't we? Can't find where we put something. And so, I started to panic and we got in the car, me and my wife, and went over there and we just started the search. Where could these sheep be? And we actually did find them a couple of properties away on this beautiful green patch of grass, which was actually not meant to have animals on it. And you know what they say, the grass is always greener on the other side. Well, obviously it was for these sheep because there they were enjoying the green grass. And I found that they had found a way to get out of our paddock and just wander off. And sheep are just prone to wander. What is it about? They're prone, if they're left to their own devices, they will just keep wandering and they manage to get out. So what we did was we started to get some friends together, one of our friends on a motorbike, and we brought the sheep back and we got them all the way back. And then we had to cut a fence down, rip the fence down and then get them over the fence, then build the fence back up. And anyway, long story short, we got our sheep. I love how God goes after us too. He's concerned for lost people. You know, the Bible says that Jesus came to seek and to save that which was lost, that relationship with God that he so wants for every person. And he goes out, he leaves the 99 to go after the one. And I'm so glad I just want to encourage all the listeners out there that God sees you wherever you're at today, whatever life is throwing at you. You may feel lost, you may feel like you're off wandering on your own, but I tell you, just one turnaround, Jesus is there. and he's the good shepherd.
The right way to spend your Saturday. This is the Rise and Shine Weekend Edition on Vision.
There is a lot going on this week, Phil, because tomorrow I will be at the Redcliffe Aerodrome with 2 lucky Vision listeners, and we're going to get a free flight on what Mission Aviation Fellowship are calling a caravan. Makes me a little bit nervous, Phil. I don't really want to be in I don't know. The visuals are not good. A flying caravan. I know money's tight these days, but hopefully the plane has 2 wings and a propeller. That'd be a bonus, wouldn't it?
Well, it is. It's a brand new Cessna, and it has to travel from Mareeba to Melbourne for the Avalon Air Show. And so along the way, they're having these immersive flight experiences, and everyone takes on a character. That's what I love. So you take on a bit of a character, and you get to, as you go up in the air, you get to be part of saving someone or a mission aviation type of event, which is pretty cool. What character were you going to be?
Well,
Andy?
Maverick, of course. I'm going to be Maverick, and we're going to buzz the tower at the Redcliffe Aerodrome. Put the word out there right now in the control tower at Redcliffe. Get ready to be buzzed tomorrow. Spill that coffee.
And we have our first winner here on the line. I think we've got Pam there. Pam, guess what? You have won a couple of our tickets to be up in the air with Mav tomorrow in Brisbane.
Oh, thank you so much. That's really wonderful news.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, my goodness. My son is going to be so excited.
Yes, because there are 2 tickets. So how old is your son, Pam?
He's actually only 13, but he's got a really, really keen interest in aviation.
Oh.
So that's really wonderful.
Oh, that is wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Have you heard of Mission Aviation Fellowship before? Have you followed them along?
I have. In fact, I love Mission Aviation because for what they do. In fact, I've always had a great interest in missions, and and what they stand for and everything like that. And my parents even were missionaries many years ago, so that mission heart has always been there. My husband's had an interest. But yes, we've been limited in what we can do. So, to be able to find out more about it, or for my son in particular to find out more about it, is actually the most exciting part to me because, he's not necessarily as interested in the whole church, but I just really want him to get a vision and a feel for what's actually out there and what people are actually doing for others, because I so appreciate that already, and just for him to actually get a better insight to that is really my where my heart is as well. So it's so exciting.
Oh, you're the perfect person to have on.
Very, very excited. Yeah, I'd love to say he's awake now and could hear this, but I'll let him know, and I know he'll be. So excited as well. Yeah,
and look,
might have to miss out on a bit of school, but that's okay.
Oh, yes.
That's what I was going to ask. Is he going to miss a bit of school? But it's a great excursion, though, isn't it?
But life experiences are an education.
100%.
And this will be probably the education that I'd like him to hear about as well. So, absolutely, no, that's so exciting.
The Rise and Shine Weekend Edition on Vision Christian Radio.
We're out at the Redcliffe Aerodrome, Andy, where you're mingling, you've got your flight jacket on because we're celebrating 80 years of Mission Aviation Fellowship Australia.
Yeah, rocking the aviators, Phil, but more importantly, just meeting some incredible human beings, and one of them standing in front of me now, it's Jo. We had a quick chat to her earlier. She's on the board of the Mission Aviation Fellowship, but she's also served on the mission field alongside her husband, Matt, and their 5 children. Jo, let me ask you, what's been one of the highlights for you about serving God in a foreign land?
I think it's seeing how God works in ways that we would never, ever experience here in a first world country. So when you're living in some of these third world countries, things that we just take for granted, school, education, vehicles, transportation, all of those kind of things, you see that in a completely different light when you're out on the mission field, and you see how isolated communities live. And so that's been a real blessing to be able to see that, be a part of that. And, to be able to share Christ in all of that as well as we've been over there.
Yeah, because you said you like seeing God move in those settings. So how have you seen God move in those settings that have some very real practical challenges?
Yeah, so we actually were living in Hagen, and we served thinking we were going there to serve and help the local churches and get involved in a local church. There's kind of this idea that, not that we know it all, but we've got something to contribute. Yeah. And then we get over there, and their churches are just thriving and just they love God. They just love God. They love Jesus. But sometimes there's a depth of understanding of that personal relationship with Jesus Christ. And so we were very blessed to become a part of the Hagen Club up there. And we went there purely to play sports and to take our kids. But during that time, we're playing sports along with some of these guys. They ask us who we are, what we do. We built relationships with them. They heard about our faith. And so then, of course, they start to ask questions. So we started to run the Alpha course with them. Oh. And then some of them became Christians. And so they said, hey, can you guys do a church? Because some of these guys are expats, so they're mixed race, where, Australian government were looking after PNG back in the 70s and 60s. So some of these kids have Australian or American father and a Papua New Guinean mother. Yeah. And so these mixed race, they're kind of torn in between the cultures.
Two cultures.
So they might get educated down here in Australia or in the US, but then they come back to their communities and their villages. And so for them to go to church sometimes is quite hard because, they kind of looked upon as royalty. Come and speak, come and do that. So they're saying, hey, can we do a home church? So we started up a home church with another couple from MAF, and we would run DVDs. We would worship in local language. We would worship in English. Our kids would take care of their kids, have a little Sunday school kind of thing. And what's exciting is even now, that's 20 years on, these guys are just growing and thriving in their faith in God. Wherever they are, some have left PNG, they've gone to Australia or America, but they love Jesus. And so that's just been incredible to be a part of that and to be a part of what he's already doing. It's his story, and he's just inviting us to be a part of the right.
The right way to spend your Saturday. This is the Rise and Shine Weekend Edition on Vision.
Chatting with Tim. He's the head of flying operations for Mission Aviation Fellowship. He's there with Andy at the Redcliffe Aerodrome, ready for a flight on one of their brand new planes. How you doing there, Tim?
Very good, thank you. Good morning to everyone.
You sound like you've got Andy there, and he's itching to fly one of the planes. I'm guessing there's quite a bit involved in the training behind someone who actually is going to fly it this morning.
Yeah, there is a bit of training. It does take about 12 to 18 months, depending.
Good.
But I do say, I will be honest, that people ask me what do I do for my job. I do sit down, I stare out the window, and I watch the world go by, quite literally.
It sounds like the perfect job.
Sounds like an easy job to me, Phil. And I've seen the movie when the pilots had fish for dinner. I don't know if you saw that one, Tim. Who's had fish for dinner? Pilots are down. Someone had to step up and fly the bird and land it. So I've seen it. It's on a movie. It must happen.
You've watched a movie, so Andy feels like he's got all the skills necessary to take over. Thankfully, there's 2 pilots on that plane this morning. But look, Tim, we are so thankful that you've sat down to have a chat with us. I understand you're the head of flying operations for MAF in Australia. Is that right?
Yeah, so I'm head of flying operations for the places that we operate the Australian registered aircraft. Okay. So currently that's East Timor, Arnhem Land in the Northern Territory, and in Mariba. But in the future, it could be elsewhere too.
Oh, wow. Can you tell us a little bit about your role and where you're located?
So I'm normally based in Cairns office, but I travel frequently to Arnhem Land, Mariba, to do a bit of flying, but also do some training as well. These days, I spend a lot of time in the paperwork to make sure that we're compliant and doing the right thing.
The role of a manager. And I mean, you think about it, this distance from Cairns to East Timor, it's probably like flying halfway across Europe or maybe the whole of Europe. Like you've got quite a large area of operation there, haven't you?
Yeah, no, it is a large area.
Now, also, Tim, the amazing thing about this guy, Fel, is, and just shows the caliber and the quality of the people working for the MAF. Tim, I believe you were once upon a time a lawyer. How does a lawyer in London become a pilot?
Yeah, good question. I was a corporate lawyer, so working with companies, buying and selling companies, mergers and acquisitions. But I always had a heart to go into aviation. I actually spent some of my younger years in South Africa and used to fly in small aircraft. But my passion was also the gospel. So I did theology at university. And how could I combine both my passion of the love of the gospel, but with flying? And didn't know how to do that. Heard about MAF, but how did I get into aviation? Went into law, and God put me underneath the flight path to Heathrow. I was like, whoa, why? I want to get out there. I want to do something. I want to do something for the gospel. I want to do something in aviation. And God opened the doors for me to get in.
You found the podcast of Vision's breakfast show, Rise and Shine. Rise and Shine.
Bringing you our favourite bits of Rise and Shine from the week. It's Fel and Andy.
The show really that should have gone for 6 hours because there was so many good bits on the show last week. It was amazing.
It was. And look, our favourite thing is always hearing from our Rise and Shine, our Vision family when they phone in. And this week we got to hear from Cheryl, who'd called in about her favourite movie. You'll have to have a listen to find out what it was and why it's so special. We also heard from Tracy, who gave us a call because she was watching a movie and it helped her find Christ. An incredible story. There was laughter, there was tears, but a beautiful story of how a movie touched her life.
And then we spoke to two of the actors who played the disciples in The Chosen, because Series 5 is coming out on April 10th, being launched in Australia. Great to talk to them. They were so convincing, Phil, that I still don't remember their real names. I just know them as Simon Peter, I should say, and Andrew.
Well, one of our favourite questions that we asked them was, who in the Bible would you like to have coffee with?
The Rise and Shine Weekend Edition on Vision Christian Radio.
If you were listening earlier in the week, Andy got to live his Hollywood dream, his movie dream of being Maverick.
That's
There's
right.
still photos of you popping up on Facebook, Andy. You loved it.
It lives on. Yes, and I will continue to be Maverick. I'm actually going to Melbourne next week to help out with the Missionary Aviation Fellowship again in Melbourne, and I'll be back in the Mav outfit again.
Will you? Okay, well, there you go. Movie take 2. But it got us talking yesterday about movies and the impact they can have on our lives. Tracy has given us a call about this. Tracy, do you have a story about a movie in your life?
Yes. So I'm a disability support worker, and one of my clients I look after, I used to drop her off at church and come back and clean her house. One day she asked me if I would like to attend the church with her. So I was like, okay, because it's not really anything I'd ever felt like I could do. Yeah. So I went with her a few times, and I started to enjoy it and stuff, like just feelings that I really couldn't explain. Then one day she asked me on a Wednesday to watch a movie with her, and that movie was Jesus Revolution. Wow. And yeah, when I watched this movie, I can't explain how it made me feel. Sorry, I'm getting a bit funny.
Yeah.
It just made me really feel that it doesn't matter like who you are and what you've been through, and the roads that you're walking could be very dark, but Jesus loves you no matter what. And from watching that movie, my next time at church, I gave my heart to Jesus in front of the congregation, and it was just really special, that movie. Sorry.
No,
Incredible.
don't
Do you remember a
ever say
part of the movie that really spoke to you, or just something that happened in the film that just like something resonated?
Just when, I can't even remember the actor's name, like their things, but when he turned around and said, I saved the hippies and no one thought they could be saved. Oh. And that to me just hit me, because I was a person, I wasn't a hippie, but my choice of lifestyle wasn't in it. It was far from Christian. So it just made me realize that no matter what, like people thought these people were never going to be saved. And I thought that myself, like I thought I didn't belong in church because I was living far from what I thought the church wanted you to live like. And going there just made me realize that I was going to be accepted, and I was going to be forgiven, and it didn't matter what I had done because he loves me.
Oh, beautiful, Tracy. That is the work of Christ in like a minute, isn't it? Unbelievable. Yeah. Hey, tell us today, if we step forward and we're with you today, you've now accepted Jesus. What's life like for you now?
Well, it's changed tremendously. Like, just my life is a bit easy. Like, my burdens are a bit easier. 2 of my children have come to church with me as well, and have also given their heart to Jesus. And I've seen their schooling change, their attitude change. It's just a different feeling, and it's only been a couple of months, so I could just imagine what a few years is going to look like, type of thing. Yeah.
Oh, Tracy, well, we are just praying for you and for your family. We are so thankful at God. He goes after the one. He's had you positioned to become part of the family of Christ, and we thank you for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you.
Oh, so beautiful. Love hearing of God's work through movies. Look, there's still time if you want to give us a call, 1-800-316-316. This is a good topic, isn't it? Movies can be so impactful, Andy.
Yeah, and novels, TV shows, like God will use popular culture to actually speak to people. Yeah. I mean, Paul standing on the mountain at Areopagus there in Athens, he used popular culture idols that they worship, poets that they all knew and read. He used that to point them towards Jesus. So it is good when Christians make movies and TV shows and different things to actually point people towards Jesus.
The right way to spend your Saturday. This is the Rise and Shine Weekend Edition on Vision.
Got Cheryl on the line. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, now that's a bit subdued. You're you're somewhere near a plane?
Yes, I'm in the Qantas lounge trying to contain all this so that I don't scare the people in the lounge.
Okay, so you're in the Qantas lounge today. Very, very exciting. Have you been listening along? You know that we're talking about movies. Of course, Andy Maverick, a.k.a. Maverick here, he lived his movie dream. I've mentioned I love the sound of music, obviously, Raindrops on Roses, all of that stuff. What's your movie go-to, Shez?
It is Bruce Almighty. Like, how good is this movie?
Really?
Bruce Almighty. Yeah. Hang on a sec. Let me cast my... Was that Jim Carrey?
Yes, that was Jim Carrey. And
is this music sounding familiar?
Oh, Andy.
I think that's it.
Me get excited. I love it.
Good music.
Good movie soundtrack, right? Like,
it's very good. Very good. So, okay, Cheryl. So this is the soundtrack. Movie's called Bruce Almighty. Jim Carrey's in it, one of my favourite actors ever. What message did you take away from it? How did God speak to you through that movie?
So this is a movie where he thinks, Jim Carrey, Bruce Almighty, thinks he can, do what God does. He gets
that's
the
right.
power of God, but like he only gets it for a town. And it just turns into absolute chaos, and it's awesome. And there's two bits that I love the most. It's when he gets fresh mountain coffee delivered to his window while he's answering prayers on the computer. And the second bit is when he parts the traffic like the Red Sea to get through. I'm like, oh my gosh, it would be, if I was God, I'd do that on the way to work. I'm sorry, that's just what I'd do. But yeah, everything he does is incredibly selfish in the beginning. But of course, the moral of the story is he's not God. But God is God, and he does what is good for us and looks after us. And it's a brilliant movie. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Even though it's old, like me, it's incredible.
Well, hang on a sec, Cheryl. You're allowed to identify yourself as a 25-year-old like I do. It's okay. But let me just flesh this out a little bit more. So your takeaway is what? That if a human was God, it'd be awful because they'd be selfish. But because God is God and he's loving and kind, that's why it's so good knowing him. Is that your takeaway?
Yeah, that's pretty much it, Andy. And it's very much that we think we have the power to run our lives and we think we're really good at it. And actually we're not.
Yes.
God knows so much more. So just trust him. Just trust in him because he knows what he's doing. And his wisdom is immeasurably more than we can even imagine. So why would we trust ourselves when we can trust God?
Oh, I love
so
that.
Good.
And there's a visual in that movie where the prayers are all piling up.
Yes.
To begin with, he doesn't realise he's going to have to answer prayers, and he's just suddenly there's like this avalanche of the world's prayers. He's trying to answer them all. It's impossible.
Sounds like my email inbox, Phil.
Exactly. And there's so many different ways he tries. He's like, let's do Post-its. So then the whole house is covered in Post-its.
Yes.
He's like, let's do this. And then he ends up with emails and he just answers yes to all of them.
Yes.
So you can imagine. Let's just give the people what they want.
And it's a nightmare. He goes answer all to every prayer.
Okay.
And suddenly there's just mass mayhem across the world.
Nuts.
Yeah.
So everyone wins the lottery, but of course they're angry because they get $1 each instead of winning millions. So
he's a communist at heart. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Yeah,
very good. Very good. Well, Cheryl, that's a really good analogy there. I like it, Phil. Are you happy with that?
Very spiritual. Still a lot more spiritual than Top Gun and Maverick. So we're winning, Cheryl.
Don't worry. I have aviators. I feel a little bit pilot sometimes myself when I'm driving my red car really fast down the freeway.
Put those aviators on, Cheryl. I believe you're flying somewhere today for work anyway. So why don't you stick them on and go and give the pilot a high five?
I was going to say, can I fly the plane?
Do it.
He might just let me do it. I think he will.
Give it a go and let us know how you travel.
Don't storm the cockpit. Maybe ask for permission first. It always goes better.
Yeah, I'm not just going to knock on the cockpit door. I'll think I'm, a not nice person.
The crazy lady. The crazy lady.
Don't be that person.
I don't want to take it by force. I'll get taken down and go into a deep, dark place where I'll never return from.
Good on you, Cheryl.
Thank you for calling. Have a wonderful flight.
You too, guys. Take care.
The right way to spend your Saturday. This is the Rise and Shine Weekend Edition on Vision.
Well, Phil, we've got two of the actors from The Chosen. One plays Simon Peter and the other plays the disciple Andrew. And they're joining us now because The Chosen is about to launch season 5. Shahar, who plays Simon Peter, and Noah, who plays Andrew. Welcome to Rise and Shine.
Thank you for having us. Good morning.
Well, we've got 1,000 questions, but we can't ask you 1,000. So we're just going to ask you a couple.
Why not?
Lightning
let's do it.
Lightning round of questions. One thing that we're loving is thinking through how much you've been getting to know the characters that you're playing. I mean, these are real people that you're portraying, Bible people that one day we'll get to meet. Tell me, if you think through all of the Bible characters that you're getting to mingle with on set, of course they're the actors, but in reality, have you got a Bible character that you would love to sit down and have a coffee with one day?
Okay, I would love to have a nice iced oat milk latte with Moses, just hang out. I want to hear about Egypt. I want to hear about Exodus. I want to know those stories. I think Moses would be a pretty crazy. Little coffee date,
companion.
if you will. That's my pick.
Companion.
Are you a little bit scared he might get a bit angry with you if he finds out you're breaking some of the laws, though, that he might sort of come down hard on you?
No, we need to have it out then. I think he's probably a passionate guy, but I'm kind of volcanic in my own right, so I think that could be kind of interesting.
Clash of the Titans. Okay, so
exactly.
So we got another question for you guys. So, when you're just walking around the streets where you live, do you get recognised as the actors out of The Chosen? Do people come up to you and go, hey, are you Simon Peter in The Chosen? Or, hey, are you Andrew in The Chosen?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it depends in which continent you are. But yeah, around here where we film, it's kind of, I think there's a lot of audience. In both locations where we film, I think there's a lot of audience. But yeah. I mean, the show has crossed to a realm where that has started to happen. But quite often, and we started buying hats and such. But,
no, and people are really so generous with their love and gratitude for the show. So it really is like a nice moment of sunshine.
It's always beautiful. It's always loving. It's always from the heart, and the response has been kind of unequivocally positive, So it's all such a good-hearted responses that we can't help but being really, really grateful about it, because everyone is so kind and it's just amazing.
And so when you sign autographs, do you sign as Simon Peter and Andrew, the disciple of Jesus, or do you sign your real names?
Only Simon Peter, of course.
It would be odd to be like,
it would be crazy to say my name, just Simon Peter.
I would say, one time someone wanted me to sign their Bible, and I felt odd about that. Yeah. There's a level of disconnect, I think, that is sometimes healthy and needed. So it's like, I am Noah, and I will sign this. But, sometimes when they just talk to you as Andrew or as Peter, it is happy to be like, well, thank you so much, but also I am not really a disciple.
You'd have to be on your best behavior.
I'll sign the Bibles, I'll sign whatever you want me to sign.
The Rise and Shine Weekend Edition on Vision Christian Radio.
We have been asking the question, who would you have coffee with, maybe a meal with, when you go to heaven? There's a huge variety of people that we read about in the Bible. Is there anyone that you'd be like, that's the person I'm going to go and find, hunt down and have a coffee with this
It's such a good thought, Phil. I haven't asked you, who would you want to have a coffee with, Phil, out of all the Bible characters?
Look, I would love to have a coffee with Deborah in the Bible, because I think she just is a very strong woman. Yep. She is able to go and she commands an army, really. She talks to the commander, but she's the boss. She's taking it out there. Yeah. I would love to hear her
let's
story.
Stop there. What would you ask her?
Well, that is a good question, because she seems like she's just sitting under a tree. She obviously had a relationship with God. What was it then? And God comes and interrupts her world and says, hey, Deborah, actually, I've anointed you for this. I need you to go and do this thing. I'd love to hear what that process was like for her, what it was like to say, hey, actually, I'm going to step out of my world and go and do something different. God's purposed me and put these gifts and callings inside of me for a certain time and a place. Not like Esther, who's also on the list, be hunting them down. You've
Esther's
been born
awesome.
for such a time as this, as she was told.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some awesome
So those
people.
are your two faves, Deborah and Esther?
Well, at the moment, but it's next week it'll be someone different. But we have put the call out. We'd love to hear from you. 1-800-316-316. And I can see that we have got Joyce on the line. Joyce, who do you like to have a coffee with?
Jesus, of course.
Oh, Joyce. I mean, you're the first to say it, so you win. I wonder, do you think that Jesus would have like a ticketing system like at the deli?
Well, no. He would just invite anyone, and I would just love him to give me a warm hug, and I wouldn't let him go, and just tell him how awesome he is and how much we love him and what he does and how he's made a difference in the world of all that believe, because there's a difference between religion and Christianity, which people don't understand. But
there is, Joyce. Can I ask you a question? What sort of coffee do you think Jesus would have?
Oh, I don't know.
A cappuccino, a long black. Like, what do you think? Do you have a bit of oat milk in there? Like, how do you see Jesus drinking coffee? What sort of coffee? I think he'd have an oat milk cappuccino with honey.
I think he would accept anything.
Yes. I don't think he would be picky at all. I'm sure I'm imagining him drinking fruit juice, actually, some sort of special juice off a vine.
A green juice.
That's what I see. I don't see him having coffee.
Yeah.
Oh,
hey, Joyce, great answer. Really good idea, having a coffee with Jesus. Yeah.
Such a good answer. In fact, we may as well just stop it there. Who's going to beat Jesus as an answer?
Yeah.
But I believe, we talk to our kids about it. I believe that Jesus knows you so intimately. I remember when Bella was into gymnastics, and I'd say to her, I bet that when you get to heaven, Jesus does a double front walkover thing, jumping towards you, and he'll come like, Belle, it's great to see you. I wonder for me whether it'll be Felicia or Fel that Jesus will greet me with. But whatever it is, I'll be very thankful and a huge hug.
Well, let's pretend he visits you in your heavenly home, because the Bible says he's making a home 100%. For us all. You got a house in heaven. You're there, Phil. You're set up. Your kitchen's nice.
Yes.
And Jesus comes to visit you. What coffee would you make him?
Well, I'd make him a juice. I'm sticking by it. I reckon I'd have to go to the beautiful trees out the front. I'd be juicing it up. I really don't think he'd be a coffee person.
But what if he says to you, Phil, I'm really keen for coffee. Like, can you make me a coffee in that really nice coffee machine I put in your house for you? What would you make him?
Well, you made your own favourite, wouldn't you? Which is, I just love a straight cappuccino.
Yes.
On skimmy milk. That's
sugar?
Me. No sugar. I don't think he's sweet enough. Sweet enough as honey.
Rise and Shine will be back Monday, but you can hear the best bits anytime in the Vision app or wherever you listen to podcasts. Great conversations, fun, inspiration, and more. Rise and Shine. On Vision.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.